Hello, my friend. Welcome to the channel. My name is Jaden, and this is PathTune, where we are charting a course towards the shores of your higher potential. Let me get this so I can read it to you. I will memorize this at some point, but just a little more info. This is ultimately about how to change and evolve your vibrational frequency over time to match the frequency of your highest and best life path. We do have the power to change where we end up, and you can experience a better future simply by changing yourself and tuning in to your highest potential. This channel is all about sharing the information, ideas, and perspectives that will help you create your own unique personal symphony of health, wealth, love, and happiness, fulfillment, and freedom with the unique ratios of what's important to you. So if that sparks your interest, please consider subscribing and come along as we explore this path of self-discovery with the intention of using the valuable information and ideas that we learn to better ourselves and our lives in some way. This is about using a variety of ideas from different sources to craft a diverse, balanced perspective for yourself, and using these ideas to our advantage and applying them practically in our life. I'm going off script here. This allows you to make the best, most aligned decisions for yourself and build your level of personal awareness. Then you can use this outlook to better harness the power of your own inner creative genius, which we all have. On this channel, we will explore themes relating to truth, knowledge, freedom, and authentic living. So if that all sounds interesting to you, and I invite you to come along on the journey of our own self-discovery. Maybe that was a little wordy. We are refining. We are refining that. But I want to give you that message up front so that you kind of get what's this channel about? What are we doing? Why are we here? So if you like that stuff, if that rings a bell for you, if that resonated or connected for you, I really do invite you to come and join and be here with this message, because this message here in this video is for you. And you probably saw the title. I mean, you obviously saw the title, and maybe you clicked on this video because of the title of the video. So, yes, if you're watching in the early stages of this channel growth, you're one of the OGs. So thank you for being here. And with that, let's just get some frequencies going. This is 528 hertz, also known as the miracle tone. It is one of the solfeggio frequencies. I actually have this PEMF, pulsating electromagnetic field device, similar to a Rife machine. It's not the same, but it's a vortex of, it emits electromagnetic frequencies, and you can program it and put in a specific frequency. And I'm always pushing out 528 out of that thing. I'll show you that in one of the future videos. It's in my bedroom next to my bed. All right. So just take a deep breath and hang out with me for a minute, will you? I actually really do enjoy making these videos, and I'm on a roll. So, thanks for being here with me. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get this message going. What will this message be about? That's a great question. I have an idea, but we're going to also let it flow as we do. So, whoa. So, in a previous video, it's titled, remember, you are the magician and the alchemist, the process of manifestation. That video, it is going over the process of manifestation from a high level, but trying to break it down into different, kind of like a formula for you. And there's more to that. There's always more, right? But I wanted to create it in a way that was digestible. So I wanted to add to that. Because with trying to manifest something into your life, another way to look at that is simply goal setting. And before I got into the more spiritual, energetic side of things, I was really into the practical psychology behind success and personal development. And the reason I got into that so heavily and studied so much of it was because I wanted to have a good life. I wanted to live a good life. I still do, and I am. But there was a message that I came across that just completely changed my perspective. And it made me realize that you are the creator of your reality through what you think about and where your focus is. It changed my life. What message, you ask? Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. I actually posted the exact version that I heard for the first time on this channel. It's the first video I posted. When I first heard it, it was like, I think originally posted by Discovery Channel, but then they took it off. It's Earl Nightingale's work. Thank you, Earl. He's no longer in this dimension. But totally changed my life. Totally changed my life for the better. And it put me on this path of working on myself. And I wanted to do that, and I was excited to do that, and to grow and work on my mind, because it really clicked for me, because you are the instrument that is going to create your future. You are your greatest asset. So it makes sense to invest in yourself, because you are what is going to create the results in your life. So I began investing in myself, and I bought so many online courses. And I didn't complete them all, but I did study quite a bit. It's all prioritization, because you don't have... That's a different statement. I was going to say you don't have all the time in the world, but then I stopped myself, because you do. And that's what's interesting, because time is now. When you say I don't have time, it's not an accurate statement, because you have all the time. Time is experienced through you. Just because we measure what we call time in our world does not mean it actually exists. We are creating a measurement system that is measuring the now moment, because if you think about the past, what was it in the past when you were experiencing the past? It was right now. You were experiencing it as a now moment. This moment has never stopped being this moment. So we are taught to conceptualize time as that. Let's pull out the let's pull this out. It's a perfect time for that. This is going a little bit different direction than I originally thought, but let's roll with it. We're going here. Hello. So time. We are taught that time... Sorry. I want to make sure that my audio sounds good for you guys, so I don't want to get too close to the mic, but not too far. I want to be just right. And that relates to what we're going to talk about later when goal setting. But we are taught that time... Oh, screen share is no longer active. Sorry about that. Let's just go ahead and do that again. Accept. Oh. Come on. There we go. Sorry, got to do that live because, I thought that was already up, but I kind of went to sleep. So here we are. We are taught that we experience time as a line, and we even get the word for it, timeline. But it's not really, from what I've learned and the way I understand it, it's not an accurate statement, because it's not that we are here. Say you are here. This is the way we're taught, is that you are here, and then you're moving forward on this line of time, and then you have your past over here, and you have your future, and you have your present. And there's this line that we're taught that this now moment is like seconds. Moments pass. But now that's all in the past. You can stretch out time. Time is malleable through your awareness, and we create time based through our awareness of it. Time flies when you're having fun. Why is that? Because you're so enveloped in the moment that you accelerate the perception of time. But you can do the opposite of that, and it can still be fun. But you can stretch out a moment by noticing all the details in the moment. When you stop and smell the roses, for instance, when you slow down and when you start to notice all the little things and being extremely ultra present. So you go outside and you sit on a park bench and you notice the birds, you notice the leaves rustling, you notice the leaves on the ground blowing in the wind, you notice the ants right on the crack near the bench. You notice that there's a kid running around. You notice that there's a person walking over here. You get the birds. You look up, there's birds hanging out right above you. You didn't even know they were there. Oh wait, now I see a gopher. There's all these things. And you slowing down and breathing and connecting with the present moment, it allows you to stretch that moment out and experience it as a longer moment. Time is not linear. Don't let me tell you what things are or aren't. What I've learned, the way I am now, my perspective on time, is that it's not linear as a straight line. And we are taught that we are experienced the past, and now the past is gone, and then we're going to go to the future, and this is what's super important, and you got to prepare for that, and then it's easy to ruminate on the past or what was. But in reality, when you were here, it was always the experience of this present now moment. And in the future, when you get there, it will be still the present of this now moment. Because you never experience time in any other way than now. Than right now, as you're watching this video, you're here. Look around. This is being here in time. And we created time to organize our world. And we started tracking and measuring things and creating schedules so we could meet at the same place and all not show up at different points. So in that sense, with our society and the scheduling, time does exist. And when we compare it to the sun, and we relate it with the sun, because that's where we get time from, is Earth traveling around the sun, and it all goes, and the Earth spinning. It's all derived from our solar system. That's where we get time. But imagine if none of that, imagine if it was always daylight, and it was always the same. And we weren't taught that we need to have something to track how long something has passed. We would experience life very differently. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is time is more circular in nature. And that was a really bad circle. That's it's a little better. Third time's the charm. There we go. Oh, I think there's an update on this, where it'll actually do a perfect circle for me. Let's see. Oh, that's pretty cool. It wasn't a circle, but... Boom! Wow, that's awesome. So there's your perfect circle. And time is more circular in nature. And you never notice how history repeats itself? That's an example of this. History tends to repeat itself. Anyway, where am I going with this? Why did I want to talk about time? Honestly, maybe that's just something I needed to bring up to preface the following message. So we'll go back to that. We're just going to keep flowing with this. Oh, I was catching myself. So the point, bring it back. You have all the time in the world, because the past really does not exist outside of your mind. It doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, you may have pictures, you may have videos, but those are just holographic reproductions of what was. And that moment is no more. If we could travel back into the past, then that's one thing. But if you don't have that ability, well, you do in your memory, but when you were there, it was now, if that makes sense. You probably know this. But it's one thing to kind of conceptually understand it, but another thing to start to really integrate what that means, because we have all the programs of how we are raised and how we're taught to function in the society. And one thing I'm trying to anchor in this message is that you actually have all the time in the world, because all the time in the world is now. And it always has been now, and it always will be now. So when we say I don't have time, I try to stop myself, because what do you mean you don't have time? You are time. You are the creator of time. Time is experienced through you. And you experience time faster or slower depending on your focus and your energy and your perspective. And then also, one thing that I've noticed and that I've heard is, as you start to raise your frequency and you're vibrating at a higher level versus a slower, because you're operating your entire being, right? Because we're not just the physical. We have our energetic, multi-dimensional layers to us. This is your entire being, and you mean your aura expands 8 to 10 feet around you. And I believe that our aura goes into higher dimensions as well. It's not just in this physical dimension. So, and then you have your different energy centers, right? Did I draw enough? Root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye. Yeah, it's a little off. Whatever. We don't need to go into that. But it's all connected. But when you start to raise your dominant frequency and you're not so primarily rooted in your physicality, but you start to identify with the greater being that you are, which is your entire energetic field and your awareness that is connected to everything. It's the quantum awareness that when you think about a friend and then they give you a call right when you thought about them, I was just thinking about you. Yeah, because we're all connected. And these quantum links that we're all connected is like the grid, where this is a terrible illustration, but there's all these invisible strings connecting all of us together. And this is the cosmic web. Wow. Does that give you anxiety? Let's get rid of that. But everybody is connected through this quantum web. And when you start to raise your frequency, and there's the scale of emotions, the frequency scale. Dr. David Hawkins. Do I have the book nearby? I don't know. He created this scale, and I think other people have too, but this one is interesting, where it's on a continuum, and on the low end is like shame is one of the lowest. Shame, fear, guilt. I'm not necessarily putting this in the right order, but it's generally, you get the idea. Shame, fear, guilt. And what the turning point from the lower end is courage. Anger is right here. And then you have courage to change. Pride is in there. Then we shift the scales to, and I'm going to do a whole video on this later, but it works its way up, and we got joy, love, gratitude, etc. And this is on the higher end. These are just higher vibrational emotions that we experience them, and they feel better. That does not mean that these emotions are bad. It's part of the human experience, and you can actually use something like anger to your advantage for motivation. So, this is all just part of being a human. But as you start to master your emotions, develop more emotional intelligence, it affects your entire energetic field. And then when you're not so focused on these emotions, and you make that switch and you go on to the upward spiral, going upward, then you raise your frequency. And when you raise your frequency, you are vibrating higher, you're vibrating faster, I should say, and because it's a faster vibration versus the slower wavelength, the longer wavelength, I should say, you experience, you go through time faster. Because it's all your experience. You experience faster. That's been a personal observation of mine, and I've heard some other people talking about that. And I do think there's something to that. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I have noticed that time is going by faster. But, there's also the aspect, not to discount what I just said, but you also need to take account, it's not just one thing, but there's also the concept of just comparing by ratios. And so when you're a kid, this is the other way to look at time. When you're a kid, your entire life, let's just say kid, your entire life is, say, 10 years. And so each of those 10 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you're going forward. Each of those 10 years, 1 year is 1/10 of your life. 3 years is 3/10 of your life. 4 years is 2/5 of your life. You get what I'm saying? Because you have lived a shorter amount of time, your experience of time is slower, and in proportion to the rest of your entire life, 5 years is half of your life. Going through a 4-year high school is that seems like a quarter of your life when you're at that point. Because it is. And so it seems to stretch out and last a long time. As we get older, now we have, I'm not going to write every line, but now we have 40 years, or anywhere from however old you are, 60, 20, whatever you want. That's why we experience life as going faster, or time is going by so fast, because we also have experienced such a longer time, so the individual small years seem to go quicker. Does that make sense? Because in comparison to the entire thing, they're just a small little segment. Even though there's 10 of them in there, those 10 years flew by because you've lived 50 of them, or you've lived that 5 times already. But 10 years was the entire kid's lifetime. So that's the other aspect about how time seems to go by faster as we get older. But I do personally believe there's more to it than that, and it does relate, because time is an experience. It's a perception. You perceive time and the passing of time, but it's ironic because we're always in the present moment. Anyway, this video is really getting hung up on time. I wanted to talk about using time, because you have all the time in the world, because when you get there it will be now, and set a goal for yourself of what you want to create in the future, which will be now. We always put it off in the future. The future comes, it is now. So the best time to do something, you guessed it, now.